What's going on, everybody? Infinity Drill here today. We are checking out a game called The Wandering Village. Now, originally I had recorded this footage previously, but unfortunately, with it being my first video, I did not record my voice. The mic was on mute, so fun times. But here we are again. I get to, sit with you and rewatch the footage and go from there. Now, this game is a top-down survival kind of build your own village type game. If you've played like Factorio or Civ 6 would even be a good comparison just because you're building special facilities. Any of those, there's hundreds of thousands of them out there. That was before Steam, but yeah, this is a really cool one. This one takes place on a creature. The whole premise is it's you surviving on the back of the creature, and you have to work alongside the creature, whether it's a symbiotic relationship or more of a parasitic relationship. You get three difficulties: novice, adept, and veteran. Novice is obviously your first time beginner difficulty. I haven't played on adept, so I don't know as far as like how the enemies hit. I know I've played on veteran before. That's actually what my first playthrough ever was on veteran, and it's a lot harder than you would imagine. One little wrong step and you lose your whole save and it's to start over, which is fine. It's one of those types of games. You either will get it on the first go or you might have to retry once or twice, but I end up choosing novice just to kind of showcase the game a little bit and show how the playstyle goes and what exactly the controls are and what the units do. The story is pretty interesting too.
Driven from our homes by the toxic spores, we kept wandering, looking for shelter.
And of course, the game takes place starting on the back, so you don't really know what happened beforehand. Like that's all they tell you, I think, as far as the story goes, because the rest is just kind of survive. I don't think there's actually really a goal. Hello, friend. I am the village elder in charge of the good people here. Our people, the Neomans, have traveled far and endured many hardships throughout the years, but now we have come across the Anbu, an ancient beast believed to have gone extinct centuries ago. Our encounter must have been fated. It has most likely been asleep in the ground for a very long time. Maybe it woke up because the toxins keep seeping further and further into the earth. And it's interesting that they use a village elder for the tutorial, considering I don't think you ever see him ever in the game. He's just, like, that's the only time you ever talk to him. The poor thing seems exhausted and has gone back to sleep for now. I once read that Anbu draw the nutrients from the ground, so I wonder if it can sustain itself out here. It seems like we need to take care of each other from now on. My experience has brought our people here, but now it's time for you to take over and lead them to a better place. To ease the transition, I could teach you a little of what I've learned. Tutor you even. Tutorial, so to say. What do you think? Elder's Notebook, and that's where your notifications are going to be, your quests. I think you can pin even certain things to it, so if you want to do certain things, you can pin to it. But that's going to be where you kind of progress through the game. This is going to be your settings, and your options. And there's a bunch of different biomes. There's a jungle, there's like a mud area. And then, of course, when you walk through different biomes, I'm sure they're going to add more eventually. Mind you, this game is still in alpha. It hasn't fully dropped yet, but, you can get it now and try it out for yourself. But I'd like to think they're going to add some kind of more complexity as far as, like, environmental factors besides just what they have now. And it's crazy how like you can zoom in and zoom out from the creature back down into the map. It's cool how they kind of transition that into one control instead of having to use multiple different controls or go to different maps. And then of course you're going to have access to all your buildings on the bottom toolbar. You can pull that up by hitting the construction button. Otherwise, there's the harvest button for the scythe, and then your other options as well, like dismantling. And they give you quite a bit of land, but mind you, by the time you get to the point where you're using up all that land, that's when structure placement will be a thing. Because obviously certain structures will only work in certain biomes. Like the mushroom one works in the mud, but won't work in the green. So you're going to want to be mindful of where you place everything. Set up for future goals, I guess, or set up for future planning. So you're going to want to build it kind of like you would an actual town, but with resources being stuck where they are. And of course, everything revolves around the Anbu. He's sleeping right now, but I believe we only get a little bit of time before he wakes up for the initial start of it. And once he wakes up, he will not stop. I learned very quickly in my last playthrough that he does not listen to me no matter what. I've tried being loyal, I've tried being whatever, and I'll still be nice to him. I can't bring myself to hurt him. He's too cute. I'm sorry, but he is. And regardless, he ignores me. He'll go straight when I say left. He'll go left when I say straight. Now we can slap down some more housing for our little villagers or peasants. And this is where you kind of see what I meant as far as a top-down like city builder. Once you kind of put stuff down, they do it automatically. You don't really control them individually. You can set things to high priority, make them build it faster or first. But yeah, very much a management kind of style game, but very cool. I love the artwork. It's a beautiful game. 2D artwork on top of kind of 3D artwork. So it's like a combination of the two styles. You can tell they really took their time with the artwork as well, considering how well some of the stuff is drawn, or like even the difference between the huts, the different cushions. So, you know, the one has like a table in front of it. And then when you click on stuff, it'll show you the description of what it is, whether it's the tent saying housing quality, amount of beds, poison resistance, bonus to residents, which that's a big thing you will want to worry about later. But for now, we're doing pretty good. And we even got plenty of food. Everyone's happy. And you can see there's the temperature gauge at the top. It says cold. And you got your wet weather. Right now, it's normal. And right now our quest is to gather at least 10 wood and construct at least 8 tents, which we got 6 down. We slapped 6 down. And there's the harvest tool. You want to be careful with it, because if you go a little bit too close to like the spikes, you'll end up harvesting them, and that hurts the Anbu and lowers your trust for whatever that's worth. And then of course you don't want to cut down the babies. You want to let them grow big and strong. You get more wood for the bigger tree, so it's obviously better to let the small ones grow and finish out their cycle. And then if you notice, there's like permanent or big resources, like that giant stump looking thing. Those are more, I wouldn't say permanent resources, but they're resources you can gather from one spot without having to go far, like a node or a vein. So it's kind of short lived, but it gives you a lot more wood than you would really need. I think in my original playthrough I only went through 1 or 2, and I don't even know if you can go through them because it's been a minute since I played it, but from what I remember they were still pretty much there by the time I ended up stopping, which is when I filled up the Anbu's back and there was nothing else left to do at the time. But I figured we could all check out the kind of the new stuff, and I could showcase the game, give it a little bit of love. It really deserves it. And I need to pause more often to keep the time from going, but I end up leaving it running too much, especially when they're just standing around idle. Like I said, placement is key, and with so many berry bushes, the berry hut can only be put in so many locations, and then you're going to want to figure out where you're going to put your farm and other stuff. And then, like, if you want to have pathways, you obviously want stuff to be a little straight and efficient. Otherwise, you're going to have weird pathways that either have dead ends or cut off or break. And it tells you the efficiency as well when you start to move over it and hover into certain areas, so you can kind of get your best little, bonus you can get before you plop it down. And it really does not look like we're going to get anywhere good. I think the best spot's going to be around here. Honestly, it hurts me that 54 is the best we're going to probably be able to get, but we have to have it down, otherwise we won't have any food. I like how there's just that one guy standing by a berry pile, as if it's his job to protect it. And see, this is where you can set high priority or highest priority. And they'll slowly start building it. Which, of course, we don't have enough wood. So that means more abusing Mother Nature. But don't worry. Knowing this game, she'll be right back to slap us. If anything, the Anbu's the only one making it out okay, because we're basically doing cleanup on his back. We're cleaning up all that back hair and dingleberries and maybe a little bit of syphilis in that corner. Who knows? We don't judge Anbu, right? It's like Fight Club. You don't talk about Anbu. We're gonna eat all those berries. At least they have a house. And they're happy. 100% productivity. Forgot we probably need to put down a worker management place before we can do that. And there's lots of different details. You can harvest fully grown, harvest all. That way if you don't want to accidentally worry about clicking on little baby plants, you can just set that setting and then just harvest the adults. So one of the other things that, besides obviously structure, placement, would be people placement. People are going to be your most dwindling resource, especially if you're not careful and people start dying, because only so many people can do so many things at once. So if you have someone in the berry gathering, they can't do anything else. They can't gather or anything like that. So it's going to be a very constricting resource. I think that's part of what makes the game a challenge, though, especially the kind of stuff you have to get through to even get to a position where you can, build the fun stuff. Man, I am slacking. Look how idle they are. Start slapping some buildings down. Where do we want it? Oh, you have to build the plots around it manually. So depending on where we want it, depends on how much food we're gonna get from it at one possible time. We don't really want it too close to the berries because then it'll take up the berry ground. Unfortunately, though, the game is single player. It is available on Steam, though. I don't know if they have any plans to port it to any other consoles or any other devices. As far as I'm aware, they're just going to keep it to PC. I believe they're going to even keep it on Steam. But the more love they get, the more they can do. And right there, you can see that even the buildings are all different. And you can see some of them will move later on. Some of the houses have like things cooking in front of them, or oh, Anbu's moving. He's woken up from his slumber. Look at him stretch. Imagine a creature that big. Like, I'm surprised they don't put sound effects for every time he steps, just because of how big he is. Plop some people in the farm. We just need to add some plots. And yeah, it's pretty cool what these tell you too. They tell you the temperature. Once you learn more vegetables, you can change them out and they'll change the temperature setting. So it'll tell you if it's in the green or not. Another big thing too is on the bottom left. That'll tell you kind of all the events going on right now. So if you're not paying attention, it'll tell you when the Anbu comes up to a turn or when it comes up to a point of interest. And now that we got some plots set down, we can start growing some food. Might as well make this nice and even. And air wells are how you gather water. So everything obviously requires water, whether it's farming or cooking. It says to put down 2. Honestly, you probably want to put down more. I'm going to end up putting probably just 2 down for now. But you're definitely going to want to plan for more resource, gathering. Probably to the mid-game, you'll probably have like maybe 4 to 6 at least. Because you can build tanks which store the water. Which that's how you get through like arid areas or dry areas or droughts or anything like that. Which, I mean, kind of makes sense. You need water to survive. And cut down some more trees. Dig up some more rocks. Or pimples. I don't know what you would call those. Because they're on his back. But just in case you're wondering, yes, you can collect his poop. Giant turds. Let me tell you. Fecal for days. And this is another one of the things that like are special. You don't want to really cut down like the berry bushes. They produce other trees. These mother trees do. So you don't want to cut them down needlessly without having at least one or two left to kind of reproduce. The more you cut down, obviously, the less trees you're going to get. Less wood you're going to get. The Onbu spikes, they can give you stone, but like I said, they'll hurt the Onbu's loyalty. Oh, it looks like they tell you right there you can get 200 wood from those before they run out. I believe those respawn over time, though. I want to say they do. Because you would end up eventually running out of resources if you cleared off the top, and then you wouldn't be able to build anything else. And there is other gathering aspects, but they're not enough to compensate. Make sure he doesn't come up to a turn yet. And watch everyone get to work. We need to construct a water tank, pantry, and a material storage. I'm going to assume storage is a storage. Yeah, the water tank only holds 100 water. For now, I'm just keeping the stuff close together because eventually when you upgrade, you're going to be replacing some of the stuff anyway, like the material storage. I don't think there's an upgrade to the water tank. It'd be in the blueprint tree if there was one. Now, where to place it, though, is the question. The pantry is where you're going to store all your food. Your material storage is just for raw resources like rock, stone, stuff, or well, rock, wood, rock and stone are the same thing in this game, fortunately. And watch them all get to work. I can't help but think of just ants. You're just controlling a bunch of ants. I put all that food in there. Like I said, they're a bunch of ants. They just you're just gonna throw it all in there in the corner. We're good for a second. We got a lot of wood and stone around us, but not anything too fancy. It'll be a second before we can get to the scavenging anyway. Day 4. So far, so good. But then again, we also haven't hit anything too bad. This is still the early game, so it's way too early to tell. Cut down some more trees. Defend Mother Nature some more. Might as well get some, well, yeah, might as well get some mushrooms. Go ahead and get them. The more resources we can get now, the easier it's going to be later, especially when we need them. Because weather is a thing. So winter, summer, the typical seasons. And you always want to try to keep an eye too, because if you forget, yeah, you get a second, but looks like we got some nomads. Of course, you can't see them though. Not gonna lie, that would have been a cool little aspect though. Like you see them on the side of the road, and then of course when you run into an event, it'll pop up on your screen on the right side. It gives you a timer though, so you only have so long before you can do it. Otherwise, you'll miss it. So you want to always check that, or at least be somewhat attentive, because it's on the bottom left as well. Encountered a small group of nomads looking for a new home. Will you let them join your village? Yes, please. Go ahead and get some new villagers. And they're healthy. That's a good thing. So far, we're doing good on everything. Next, it's the research building in the kitchen. Question is, where do we want to slap it? I guess right here's good for now. Make sure we have enough room for another row of houses, because we're going to need it. That should be good. Now we can have a pathway through it as well. I don't know if you need a pathway in the front of the tents. I would imagine they can go in and out from either side, but that might be something to pay attention to. Maybe they only work being one way. And then this is going to be how you make the more complex resources, like planks from wood, as a carpenter stonecutter makes stone slabs from stone. And the mycologist, which is for the mushrooms, which the Anbu eats mushrooms. That's what those are for. We haven't made the Anbu kitchen, and we're not close yet, but if we can get it down now, we might be able to build up some, so when we do have it, we'll have food ready made for him. Pack him some bentos on his first day of school. Because, the Anbu is a living thing. The green bar around his image is his health bar, and the more damage he takes, the more that bar disappears, and once he dies, that's game over. So you got to make sure he's healthy, and make sure he's fed, make sure he's sleeping. A true symbiotic relationship, which I think is one of the things that really drew me to this game, is the fact that instead of the typical, like, you play an omnipotent god, it's more so you're playing a creature alongside, a being. I wouldn't say that Anbu would be like a god, but he's a very big guy / girl, and there's not a lot that could stop him. Obviously he can get sick, stuff like that, but he's not going to do anything to you as long as you don't do anything to him. Which, that would be an interesting mechanic if you harvested too many spikes or took too much of his blood. Instead of killing him, he would get enraged and just start bucking, destroying buildings on the back. Our water tank's got 6 of 100, so it's building up slowly. We're at normal weather right now. It's a little cold, but might as well get a couple more of these slapped down. Alright. Hornblower Kitchen. Well, we definitely need to choose where we need to go, because driving is important. Don't get me wrong, we can let Jesus take the wheel, but if Ambu takes the wheel, he's going to go wherever he wants. Then again, he never did listen to me, so I don't know how important that actually is. And it looks like Ambu just evacuated his bowels. Ambu seems unsure about which path to take at the upcoming crossroads. Well, I guarantee he ain't gonna listen to me. This is the research tree, so you got starting from the kitchen and goes to like the scavenger hut, food stand, the village doctor, which would be like health. Then you have like Ambu type buildings. Then that's where you also learn your plants is under that tab, that first tab. Herbalist is going to be real important just because that's what you use to make medicines and antidotes. You need to start moving some of these people around, otherwise we're going to have no one working in them. It's like the Great Resignation, except with villagers. That sound effect, though, that straight up sounded like water being dropped in, like, on concrete in an alley or something, or in a warehouse. Cut down some more of these adult trees. Something else that would have been an interesting mechanic as well is maybe if you didn't want to use the resources of the spikes, but say you wanted to be able to build there, like you could shave them down and you don't get anything for it, but it doesn't hurt the Anbu's trust with you. And then of course we gotta put a plot down. You gotta put a plot down for anything that grows anything. So the mushrooms, the herbs, your farm. Hmm. We just stepped in the jungle. I don't know if you could tell from the dark atmosphere and the change of music, but see now if you look, our temperature is normal, but our weather is humid. So it should be good for growing. I do have to say that the music is pretty cool. Especially transitioning from area to area. Might as well slap down another research. The more you have, the faster it goes, so it's better to get those slapped down now instead of later where you could have been using that time researching. The only drawback is, of course, people. It takes people to research. I don't know what they're researching in there and why it takes so long. I mean, for all we know, they could be researching porn on the internet, but that's another topic for another day. Of course, Anbu's getting sleepy. Yeah, go to sleep. Go to sleep, little baby. Yes, 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 yes. That yawn, though. And of course, while sleeping, his hunger's going to go up. But I believe we should be moving up on a food patch here relatively soon. Slap another person in the herb. Another cool little detail too is up by where it tells you your people, it tells you how many are idle, so it tells you how many people don't have a job. slap down that hornblower so we could attempt to communicate with the Anbu. I'm sorry, Tree, but you were right in the middle of where I needed to be. Now we can start building some of those more complex resources. It's the question of where do we want it? We want it next to where our material storage is going to be, but we don't want it so close to our stuff that it gets in the way of everything. But we need that wood fast, so obviously reduced travel times is a bonus. So if having it in the middle compared to the outer edge is going to save a lot more. Definitely need to go for the village doctor. I'd love to get the scavenger hut, but well, maybe. Nice. This way we can gather some other resources. We shouldn't necessarily need it right away. You only really need the doctor for when you go into toxic zones. What to do? Definitely need to throw down a worker post. That way we can actually control them better. That's how you kind of fine tune what your workers can do. Might as well put some paths down. I'm pretty sure it helps with movement speed. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it helps with movement speed. Otherwise, why would they have a pathway? I don't even know where to start with the stuff over here. We're just gonna kind of, whatever. Good enough. There we go. It's not perfect, not pretty. Gets the job done though. And get a kitchen so people stop eating berries like animals. Is that going to be good enough? He should be waking up here soon. Harvest some more stone. Or should I say rock? Because there's no one else better to have on your side than the rock. Yeah, I know it's cheesy. I gotta get at least one pun in a day. Isn't that how it works? Look at him go. I don't know why they're building the path like that, but sure. And Anbu is awake. And there's the feeding zone right there. %36. Not bad. Not bad at all. We need 5 wood planks for the hornblower, which we haven't even gotten the carpenter done. We need more wood. Well, so far so good though. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm loving the game. We could always check out more later though. If you're enjoying the game, like I said, you can always check it out on Steam. It's available there. I think I got it on sale, but it should be around $10. I'll try to put a link down below. Otherwise, just search for the game on Steam, and you'll be able to find it there. But this is Infinity Drill letting you go. Until next time, deuces.